The thunderstorm that shook the mountain during the telling of Peter Fawcett's story passed. We tourists were deposited back into the present, with shafts of sunlight illuminating a peaceful scene, a broad pathway stretching into the distance, disappearing over the curve of the hillside. Jefferson named it Mulberry Row for the fast-growing shade trees he planted here in the 1790s. 1,000 yards long, it was the main street of the African-American hamlet atop Monticello Mountain. The plantation was a small town in everything but name, not just because of its size, but in its complexity. Skilled artisans and house slaves occupied cabins on Mulberry Row, alongside hired white workers. A few slaves lived in rooms in the mansion's South Dependency Wing. Some slept where they worked. Most of Monticello's slaves lived in clusters of cabins scattered down the mountain and on outlying farms. In his lifetime, Jefferson owned more than 600 slaves. At any one time, about 100 slaves lived on the mountain. The highest slave population, in 1817, was 140. The labyrinths of Monticello mirror the ambiguities of its maker. As you approach the house, you are taken in by one of Jefferson's cleverest tricks. Through the artful arrangement of windows, he achieved the illusion of having his 3-story building appear to have only one floor. He had to have a house like the ones he'd seen in Paris when he was the U.S. minister there. "All the new and good houses are of a single story," Jefferson said, in the tone of someone who has discovered a new law of physics. So in the 1790s, he tore apart his first house, 8 rooms, 2 floors, and began work on a 21-room mansion, ingeniously concealing its bulk. Its innovations included skylights, indoor privies, and a system of drain pipes and cisterns to capture rainwater. He brainstormed on novel solutions for ventilating smells and smoke, such as tunnels to carry away the odor of the privies and an underground piping system to direct the smoke of cooking fires away from the house. He built the privy tunnels through which a slave had to crawl once a month for $1 to clean them. He dropped the idea of the underground pipes, considered smokestacks in the shape of obelisks, and finally settled on just having chimneys. One feature that Monticello does not have is a grand staircase, usually the centerpiece of a Virginia squire's entrance hall. A waste of space, Jefferson thought, and in any event he didn't need one, because he rarely went upstairs. He had everything he needed in his private L-shaped suite of rooms on the main floor: the bedroom, the study or cabinet, the book room, and the greenhouse with its access to a private terrace and the lawns. A visitor called this spacious domain Jefferson's sanctum sanctorum. His extended family, beloved daughter, impecunious son-in-law, widowed sister, grandchildren, nieces, and nephews, packed themselves into the 2nd and 3rd floors, reached by an extremely narrow, steep, and winding staircase. A treacherous ascent for anyone, and doubly dangerous for someone carrying a load or a squirming infant. Jeff Randolph recalled the cramped quarters allotted him as a child. "I slept a whole winter in an outer closet." The granddaughters, desperate for private space where they could read and write, improvised their own sitting room out of an architectural gap over a portico, contending with wasps for control of the room. Jefferson grasped the ways geometry talks to the eye and mind, and in his hands that arid specialty yielded visual music. He imparted an uncanny sense of motion to the inanimate mass of bricks, glass, and wood, playing variations on geometrical themes. The facades of Monticello and many of its rooms have no real corners, which puts the eye, expecting right angles, off balance. His design for his country retreat, Poplar Forest, which he started in 1806, called for a pure octagon containing a cube. Today we are accustomed to skylights, but in his time people did not expect to stand indoors in gentle sunlight coming from above, banishing the expected shadows and making others. So innovative and eccentric in its irregularities and geometric illusions,